The book of Revelation isn't just about the end of the world. It's a coded drama that reveals how power, corruption, and hope play out across history, including right now, today. We see images of chaos everywhere: wars, protests, endless screens flashing with bad news. It feels overwhelming. But what if all this was predicted almost 2,000 years ago, not as a detailed roadmap to doom, but as a symbolic guide to understanding the human condition? And what if, beyond all that chaos, there's a promise of ultimate peace? The next few minutes, we're going to decode the famous and often terrifying symbols of Revelation. We'll look at the Four Horsemen, the Beast, and the infamous Mark. But we're not stopping there. We're going to connect these ancient symbols to our modern world in ways that might shock you. This isn't about predicting when the world will end. It's about understanding the world we live in right now. Forget the confusing charts and panic-inducing sermons. We're going to look at this ancient text with fresh eyes and see what it really has to say about power, money, technology, and where we place our loyalties. So, if you're ready to see history, and maybe even your own life, in a whole new light, stick around. This is Revelation, decoded for the 21st century. Let's dive right into the symbols. When you hear Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, you probably picture pure destruction. And you're not entirely wrong, but it's deeper than that. These aren't just one-time events. They represent recurring cycles of history. First up, the White Horse. Traditionally, this is seen as conquest. Think of a charismatic leader or a powerful empire that promises peace and security. But its expansion comes at a cost. It's a false peace, a Trojan horse. It looks good on the outside, but it's really about domination. History is littered with these figures promising utopia while building an empire. Next, the Red Horse. This one's more straightforward: war and bloodshed. When diplomacy fails or when conquest is resisted, conflict erupts. The Red Horse represents humanity's tragic and seemingly endless cycle of violence. Every war, every civil conflict, every time brother turns against brother, the Red Horse rides. Then comes the Black Horse. This rider holds a pair of scales, representing economic imbalance and famine. It's about a system where basic necessities like wheat and barley are priced out of reach for the common person, while luxuries like oil and wine remain untouched. Sound familiar? Think rampant inflation, supply chain crises, and the massive gap between the ultra-rich and the poor. The Black Horse rides whenever economic injustice creates widespread suffering. Finally, the Pale Horse. Its rider is death, and Hades follows close behind. This represents the ultimate consequence of the first three: plague, disease, and the finality of death itself. Whether it's a pandemic sweeping the globe or the accumulated death toll from war and famine, this horseman represents the grim reality that these cycles of destruction have a body count. So these aren't just characters in a scary story. They are forces we see playing out on the news every single day. They are the cycles of history that humanity has lived through and continues to live through. Now let's talk about the two biggest villains in the book, the Beast and Babylon. These aren't literal monsters. They are powerful symbols for systems that dominate humanity. The Beast in Revelation rises from the sea and is given authority and power. It demands worship from the entire world. This is the ultimate symbol of oppressive political power. Think of any totalitarian regime, ancient or modern, that deifies its leader and crushes all dissent. It's the state becoming a god. It's the political system that says, "Your ultimate loyalty belongs to me, not to your conscience, not to your family, and certainly not to God." The Beast represents empire in its most arrogant and brutal form. It seduces with power and controls with fear. Then you have Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes, depicted as a wealthy woman drunk on the blood of the saints. This isn't a literal city. It's a symbol for a corrupt global system of wealth, consumerism, and immorality. Babylon is the seductive allure of materialism. It's the economic system that thrives on greed, exploitation, and the promise that more stuff will make you happy. It's the culture that says, Indulge yourself, chase after wealth, and don't worry about the ethical cost. Babylon and the beast often work together. The political system provides the power, and the economic-cultural system provides the distraction and the seduction. Every generation has its own version of the beast and Babylon. Every time a government demands absolute allegiance, the beast is there. Every time our culture tells us that greed is good and consumption is king, Babylon is there. These aren't just ancient prophecies. They are timeless warnings about the corrupting nature of power and wealth. So, if the beast represents the system, what about the famous mark of the beast? For decades, people have freaked out thinking it's a credit card, a barcode tattoo, or a microchip implant. But that misses the point entirely. The mark in the ancient world was a seal of ownership or allegiance. It was an identifier. In Revelation, you have two opposing marks: the mark of the beast on the forehead or hand, and the seal of God on the foreheads of his servants. The forehead represents your beliefs and thoughts. The hand represents your actions and what you do. So the mark of the beast isn't a piece of tech. It's a symbol of where your ultimate loyalty lies. It signifies a person who thinks and acts in alignment with the corrupt, godless system of the beast. They have bought into its ideology and participate in its economy. Conversely, the seal of God signifies those whose identity and allegiance are with God. Their thoughts and actions are aligned with His principles of love, justice, and mercy. So the real question isn't, will I be forced to get a chip? The real question is, who do I belong to? Where is my true allegiance? It's a choice of identity, not technology. So after all this doom and gloom, horsemen, beasts, corruption, you'd think the book ends in a fireball. But it doesn't. The climax of Revelation isn't destruction, it's renewal. The final vision is of the New Jerusalem descending from heaven. This isn't about us escaping earth to a cloudy heaven. It's about heaven coming down to earth. It's a vision of a restored creation, a city with no more tears, no more death, no more mourning or crying or pain. It's a place where God dwells directly with humanity, not in a temple made of stone, but in the midst of His people. The gates are always open, and the river of life flows from the throne. This is the ultimate picture of hope. It says that despite all the chaos, the corruption of Babylon, and the tyranny of the beast, the story ends with healing, restoration, and perfect communion. Revelation ends with a wedding, not a funeral. Now, let's connect the dots. How do these ancient symbols echo in our modern world? Let's start with politics. The beast is the symbol for a state that demands total worship. In the 20th century, we saw this horrifically in Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia, where the state was everything. Today, we see echoes of it in authoritarian regimes that use propaganda and mass surveillance to control their people. They build personality cults around their leaders and punish anyone who dissents. When a political system says, "We are the ultimate source of truth," or "Your identity is defined by your nationality and loyalty to us alone," that's the spirit of the beast. It doesn't have to be a global dictator. It can be any power structure that tries to take the place of God in people's lives and demands unquestioning worship. Let's talk economics. Babylon is the system of seductive, exploitative consumerism. Does that sound familiar? We live in a global culture that is obsessed with more. More clothes, more tech, a bigger house, a faster car. Advertising creates desires we never knew we had, and we're told that buying things is the path to happiness. But this system has a dark side. It runs on the exploitation of cheap labor in other countries. It pollutes our planet, and it leaves us feeling empty. Babylon promises fulfillment but delivers addiction. It gives the get rich or die trying mentality that glorifies wealth at any cost. Revelation's message is stark. Babylon thrives on greed, but its collapse is inevitable. Every materialistic empire in history has eventually fallen. And what about technology and media? This is where it gets really interesting. People worry about the mark of the beast being a chip, but maybe the mark is less about a physical object and more about how we participate in the system. Think about our digital identities. Our lives are tracked, our data is sold, And our thoughts are shaped by algorithms designed to keep us scrolling and buying. Digital addiction and surveillance technology can create a system where our thoughts, our forehead, and our actions, our hand, are completely given over to a system we don't control. And then there's the false prophet, the beast's PR agent, who performs signs to deceive people. In our world, who holds that power? Think about the spread of misinformation online. Think about influencers who promote a shallow, materialistic lifestyle. Think about media figures who use deception and fear to manipulate public opinion. The false prophet is the voice of the system, making the beast's agenda look attractive and desirable. The mark is about loyalty, and the prophet is about deception. They work hand in hand, finally, the cycles of chaos. The Four Horsemen. Few years ago, we lived through a global pandemic, the Pale Horse. We see wars raging on our screens every day, the Red Horse. We're all feeling the pinch of inflation and economic instability, the Black Horse. And we constantly see political movements promising a new world order, the White Horse. Revelation isn't predicting these specific events like a fortune teller. Instead, it gives us a framework to understand them. It reframes the chaos we see not as random, meaningless suffering, but as part of a larger spiritual battle between the ways of the beast and the ways of God. So what's the takeaway from all of this? If you've been listening, you might feel a little anxious. Beasts, plagues, corruption, it's a lot. But here's the crazy part. The message of Revelation isn't fear, it's hope. It is the ultimate spoiler alert. The book tells us straight up that corruption will rise. It tells us that empires built on greed and power, like Babylon, will look invincible for a time. It tells us that chaos will repeat in cycles. But then it gives us the ending. And the ending is this: the Lamb wins. Not through military might, but through sacrifice and love. The point of Revelation isn't to scare you into a bunker. It's to give you a heavenly perspective on earthly chaos. It's a call to be wise, to be discerning, and to be faithful when the world goes crazy. Don't panic during the plot twists. The ending is already written and it's good. The story doesn't end with the beast, it ends with the New Jerusalem. It doesn't end in darkness, it ends with the dawn. So I want to leave you with a challenge. Look at the systems around you, your government, the economy, the media you consume. Where do you see the patterns of the beast, Babylon, or the false prophet playing out today? But more importantly, and this is the real hope, where do you see signs of the New Jerusalem breaking through? Where do you see acts of selfless love, justice for the oppressed, and communities choosing service over greed? Because that's where the real story is. Thanks for watching. If this gave you a new way to think, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that decodes the ancient for the modern. See you next time.